Hello and welcome to the channel. My name's Mike Walker and today I'd like to show you how I do a multi-screen video wall using Premiere. During these times of lockdown we've seen lots of these and they're a great way of communicating in these times of social distancing. In this particular case, I'm producing a video for a Leeds-based music group called Funk on the Rocks. Details in the description below. Great band, well worth booking, who for obvious reasons can't perform live at the moment, so they're producing a series of videos on the website and social media to promote themselves to the customers and the clients and potential bookers. So as I've said, I'm using Premiere, and what I'm going to do is input all the 7 clips into the timeline. Premiere will deal with whatever size you put in. It could be 1080 files, 720 files, SD files, whatever, and also formats, MP4, MOV files. It will deal with just about anything you throw at it. It's important to make sure the sequence you build and put them into is what you want to be at the end of the day. So in this case I've done a 1080 sequence because 5 out of the 7 clips are 1080. The other 2 are 720. So let's get on with it. I've already opened Premiere. I've input the 7 clips. So there's one WAV file which has got the basic audio on it, and I'm ready to sync them on the timeline. So let's go. So here we are in Premiere, and I've opened the project. I've imported the files. I've imported 9 files, and that's 7 musicians' files. Then playing the instruments with their phones, laptops, computers. So unlike Final Cut, where it conforms all the clips on the timeline before it can edit, Premiere will edit any type of clip, so you can put anything on it. In this case we've got a mixture of MOV files, MP4 files, varying frame rates and varying aspect ratios as well. I want it to be 16:9 aspect ratio, the sequence, not portrait but landscape mode. So I'm going to pick one of the clips. The guitar clip is 30 frames. Most of them are 30 frames with 2 at 24 and the rest at 30 and 1 at 60. So I'm going to pick one of the clips. We'll pick the guitar clip because that's 30 frames. Now that I've picked that, I'm going to delete it, and I've got my sequence set. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the audio track on the timeline, and we're going to sync everything to that. And I'm not putting it right at the beginning of the timeline because we might need to go back on some of the clips. So I'll put it there for now. And yeah, so that's nice, easy. We've got beats 3 and 4. I'm back in on 1. So I'm going to use 1. This is the first bass drum, and you can hear it as I go frame by frame. There's the first bass drum, and I'm going to put a mark on the timeline there. So I'm going to press M on the keyboard and I'm going to sync everything to that point there. So let's get the drum track. I'm going to go backslash again, go full frame, just put this on the timeline, and I can see the markers, so I'm going to go over there, bring this forward, and we've got 3, 4, 1, and there we go, the bass drum. That's the bass drum we want, which is the first beat of the first bar, and you can clearly hear that there on the bass drum there. I'm going to cut the track, and I'm pressing V on the keyboard for the selection tool, delete the first bit. Move that down because the audio track is on track 1. So move the drum track into position, and let's just play that now just to see if it's in sync. Yeah, that looks nicely in sync. What I'm going to do at this point now is, because we're going to put a lot of tracks on the timeline, I want us to be able to see them, so I'm just going to roughly, using the scale, I'm going to move this down to 50%, and just going to move it somewhere. Let's put Steve up in the top left corner for now. and let's look at the bass track. So that's Steve synced. I'm going to bring his track forward to meet the other track, so if it does move I'll know, because it won't be equal. You know, if I move it accidentally like that, I know that if I move it back to there it's going to be in sync again. I've still got this gap at the front just in case at some point there might be a track that needs to be in front of that without moving everything else. I will put it back when we've done. So for now we've got that little bit of room there to work with. So let's look at the bass track. I'm going to bring that onto the timeline. That'll probably sync in the same place. We'll just see what Chris is playing. That's the first beat again, so let's sync to that frame there. So I'm going to just bring that in there. That's my sync point again. So all I need to do is put that to this marker here, and there it is on the marker. Let me just tidy the end up there, and I'm going to bring that to the beginning there, so if it moves I'll know it's moved. And let's see if it's in the sunshine. There we are, there's Chris in sync. Everybody loves the sunshine. So I'm going to then put him down to 50% for now. In the sunshine. And let's just move him. Everybody loves the sunshine. Whatever's highlighted is what you're working on. We go to the effects control and we go to motion, and you can actually just move it like this if you like. I just want to be able to see them for now, so it looks like 50's a little bit big for the clips, so I'm going to go 44. Let's change Steve to 44. So if you highlight motion, it will highlight the clip, which is where you can move it. So you can either do it that way, or I usually move it like this because I just do. I don't know why. I don't need to. Habit. So look at the bass clip. We can move that like this. Move it up and down. So for now I'm going to put that like that, and let's move on to the next one. So the next one, let's look at the guitarist, and let's just see what happens with this one. The audio looks a bit quiet looking at the waveform, so I'm just going to bring it up. So I'm going to right click on the audio track, look at audio gain, and I'm just going to bring up 6 dB, which is doubling the strength of the signal or the sound. So let's look at that one. So that's the first beat again, which is there. So I'm going to bring that into there, and we're on track 3 now. Let's bring that down to there. I'm just making the tracks the right so we can see them, making the other one smaller when we finish with them. Backslash again to make it full screen. I'm going to move it to the sync point, which is there, and just have a quick look. Yeah, that's it. Which is fine. I'm going to tidy up the end, so I know that if it moves, like I said before. Now let's put Jake into position. Let's for now put him somewhere around here. Let's put him down there for a sec. Let's look at the keyboard. I think you're getting the idea now as to how it works. Let's look at the vocal. Let's look at vocal 2. Now this will be a little bit more difficult because we've got no... We might have to sync to a different place. Yeah, we can't hear the track at all on this. So that's the first thing she sings. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Audio gain. Okay, let's put that in a new track. and expand so we can see the waveforms on there, along with the waveforms of the other track. Yeah, we can't sync this to the first beat because. So let's sync to this. I'm going to move. That's the first frame of that vocal phrase there. So I'm going to go there to there, and then I'm going to move this in roughly. And let's see. Let's listen to the track. There it is. Starts there. Let's roughly put that in there and let's see what happens. It'll be a little bit easier when there's this next phrase coming up. Yep, that's in. Okay, so I'm going to bring that back and move that to there. And
everybody loves the sunshine.
Audio again, minus. Yep, and let's go to motion and size that track somewhere there, and let's put Cherie's track in, vocal 1. It's going to be a similar type of thing. Let's shrink that a bit smaller, make this one a bit bigger, and we'll do a similar thing. Thank you very much, and Cherie has nicely given me a cue. I'm going to use the 3 to sync to. Delete everything before, and minus 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 to come back out. I'm going to go round about where the sync point is, and let's listen to this. So the 3 is the rim shot. We can hear the Steve stick coming together. Yeah, that's the one. The third beat of the intro bar, if you like. There's the 3, the third beat of the intro bar. I think that should be somewhere near. Let's see when she sings. Yeah, that looks pretty good.
Everybody loves.
Let's take the audio down. So all these tracks are on now, they're all playing. We don't want to use the tracks at all, we just use these purely to sync up to the master track. So we need to turn them off, really. Quite happy with the sync there, everything seems to be syncing up nicely. Let's tidy that end bit up there, and let's shrink Cherie's track down and move it somewhere. Let's move it across to the left. Okay, so roughly we've got the video in place there. Okay, so they're all in position. The next thing is to just look at the video, and I can see on George's track there's probably too much headroom there, so what I'd do is I think I'd crop the top of that to make room for other things. We don't want any wasted space really in these instances where. So you take the crop, is focal 2. I'm going to put the crop filter on that track there. So we're dealing with this middle one, and I'm going to crop the top down like that. And I'm just going to crop Cherie's left side because we're trying to get as much space. It's beautifully framed actually, but for the purposes of this video I'm going to crop the left hand side because I know we're going to be pushing for space there. Just that little bit there. I might crop Georgie's bottom of the frame as well to make it more square. So bottom there, let's bring that up a little bit there. Then it's just a question of moving the tracks to where you want to put them. I won't waste time doing that now. It's obvious what we do. We use the motion and we put the clips where you want them. Because I want a white background, I'm going to pick up all the clips there and just move them up one, and it's going to be at the bottom, the white clip. I've already done that in graphics, have I? Yes, and I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to move it like that. So now we've got a nice white background. The background could be anything, it could be a JPEG or whatever you want to put in there. And then the logo, the band's logo, again, that's on the track, that'd go probably on top. Get a bit tight for room now. Make space for the logo, move that across there, and again using the motion keys, you stuck it in the middle. We would just position that in one of the corners. I think the bottom corner looks quite nice, or the top corner, whichever way you know put it, and that looks quite nice. So we've got a white background and the logo. The only other thing that I might want to do is just look at each clip and see, like, the base clip looks a little bit blown out in terms of highlights, so we can fix that. Go to colour and select the base track there, and let's just take out the highlights. Can you see how the background is? Just do it quickly so you can see. I've just reduced the highlights totally there. Just add a bit of punch contrast, maybe a little bit of colour because it looks a bit insipid. Must be just the lighting, it's nothing to do with Chris. And I'm just going to bring the shadows down and exposure possibly. That looks okay. The rest of the clips look okay, but you could do that with each one. But I think that looks fine. And just one quick look again, just to make sure.
Everybody loves the sunshine.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to go back to my edit workspace now, and let me just move this back up a little bit, and let's look at one I did earlier and spent a little bit more time with, but you've got the idea how to move the clips using motion. And let's look at the main sequence there. This is the one I did earlier. So I've felt like I've positioned those clips a little bit better. And they can be whatever size you want. They can be in whatever position you want. So this is just to give you a rough idea of how I do that, and when you've rendered it out, we just render it out as it's to be played on Facebook and possibly YouTube. So I just export the file, export media, and a YouTube 1080 clip, and that's it. So very simple. Export and off it goes, and that would produce my master, which I'd give to the band and they would put it on their social media, and that's it. Okay, well that's just about it for now. I'm going to start to wind down, but I'd like to say that Premiere does give you some great tools for manipulating the audio, you know, in terms of EQ effects, panning, volume, compression, all these types of things are inside Premiere. Audition is fantastic, but even inside Premiere you've got a lot of tools there to help you get some really good audio. Thanks for watching, thanks for staying with us, hope you've enjoyed it, hope you've learned something. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, hit the notification bell and I'll keep you in touch with what's going on and what's happening next. And I'll catch you in the next one.
Everybody loves the sunshine.